Good morning. Well, a lot of people are domestic abuse victims. And out here, almost exactly 2 months ago, in front of the courthouse, Jacksonville's domestic violence shelter, Hubbard House, had its event and told us on air that they help almost 1,000 people who come through there for help every single year. Now, domestic violence executive directors at other shelters across the First Coast who I talked to fear that forced childbirth will be used by more abusers.
Children are a pawn in most domestic violence relationships. They're something that the batterer can use to make the victim act in a certain way, not leave, create greater dependence. So
Dr.
again,
Theresa
this
Beachy is the
ruling just
executive director
reinforces.
of Peaceful Path's Domestic Abuse Network. Depending on where you live in Bradford County, Peaceful Paths in Gainesville may be your closest shelter to escape domestic violence. Beachy says children are often a reason domestic violence victims don't get help sooner.
The fear of having your children go into the system of DCF, that if you make a report to law enforcement that suddenly child welfare is involved, that is a huge barrier for a lot of women, or just the threat knowing that if they are legally bound to the person by marriage or through a child that's on a birth certificate, that the state, the court system may actually award those children to the batterer. We see that happening more and more often.
1 in 3 women have experienced violence by an intimate partner, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. CDC data reports unintended pregnancies are highest in communities of color and low-income communities.
We really do force survivors into a situation where they're going to continue to be victimized by someone who has control of their life through a child.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is on your screen right now. Now, domestic violence survivors could also be impacted by recent gun legislation. We'll have Beachy's answers to what I asked her about that on firstcoastnews.com on this story. Renata Di Gregorio live in Jacksonville, First Coast News on your side.